Hi everybody and welcome to Mrs Gurney's tutorials. Today we are going to be making spring rolls. So this is one of the year 8 projects that we do for food. So I'm just going to put this piece of paper up now to tell you exactly what you're going to need to make spring rolls at home. Okay, you are going to need a pepper, any colour, 2 cloves of garlic, a small piece of ginger, probably about the same sort of size as your thumb, a handful of bean sprouts, 5 spring onions, a carrot, 2 tablespoons of honey, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, a pack of filo pastry and a small amount of oil. You will also need a baking tray which is greased or lined with baking parchment, or if you've got a non-stick sheet, which is what I'm using today, you can use that as well. And the oven temperature is 180 degrees C, 350 Fahrenheit or gas Mark 4. Okay, so that's what you're going to require. So let's get started today. So I'm going to start off with vegetable preparation. Now this recipe does require quite a bit of chopping, so it's good skill practice to do the bridge and claw method which we use in school. So I'm going to be reminding everybody about that bridge and claw method today. Okay, so if you just bear with me 1 second, let's get some lights. There we go. Now we can all see. Right, so bridge and claw method. So the first thing we're going to make sure that we do is that our hands are nice and clean and washed, which mine were done previous to starting the video. Also, you need to make sure that all your utensils and your kitchen worktop is clean and tidy as well. Obviously, with the spread of viruses and bacteria at the moment, we can't be too careful, so just be really mindful of that. Other health and safety things to think about is the fact that your knife is obviously going to be very sharp, so I'd strongly advise making sure that you've got an adult around to be watching what you're doing, or just to make sure that you're safe in the kitchen. Okay, so I'm going to start. First of all, you need a bowl, you're going to need the knife, chopping board and the other items that I said. So I'm going to show you first of all with the carrot. Now carrots, we've got 2 ends to a carrot. So we've got where the roots came out, because this grew under the ground. Okay, it's a root vegetable. So I'm going to chop off my end of my carrot, and then the other part, which is where all the leaves came out of, okay, which would have been sticking out of the ground, I'm going to chop that off. Now I don't want those two. What I'd recommend is that you get a little bowl or something to put all your rubbish into the side of you to keep your worktop area nice and tidy.
Yeah, or like yesterday, you can just put it in your bin yourself.
You could put it in your bin, yeah, but sometimes it's easy just to do it this way. Right, so what I've done, okay, is I've chopped my carrot in half, and then I've chopped it in half again, and then I'm going to use my bridge methodology. So remember our bridge and our claw, okay, making sure that our fingers aren't sticking out, that they're tucked underneath nicely, okay. So what I'm going to do into my bridge, okay, is I'm going to cut down and cut down again to make those nice real small shards that we want. So we want nice thin strips of carrot, and then we're going to put them into our mixing bowl, okay, like so. So carrot, nice and easy. You want them nice and thin, okay? You don't want great big fat pieces of carrot in it. It needs to be nice and thin, guys, okay? Because otherwise, if you think about it, carrot is quite hard and quite tough. So you want it as thin as possible so it cooks in the oven when the rest of the spring roll's cooking, okay? So that's going to be my carrot. I've also asked for a pepper. Now again, pepper is quite tough on the outside. It's got quite tough skin. So again, what we want to do is nice, real thin strands of that pepper coming through. Remember to use that claw method and then into bridge to finish it off, just making sure that you're cutting away from yourself the whole time, making sure that you're nice and safe in the kitchen with that knife, and separate those out and then pop them in your dish. Right, I'm also going to show you about my spring onions. Now spring onions, again, these grew out of the ground that way. So this furry bit at the bottom is the root of the spring onion, okay? And we don't eat that, we don't want that part. So we're going to take that off. And then the top section here where the leaves were, okay, what you're going to do then is you're going to peel away this outside edge. Okay, now you can wash the vegetables, that would be a good idea prior to starting. Okay, so I've just peeled that off there, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just chop down. I don't want those top sections, but what I do want, okay, oh thank you assistant, she's putting them in the bin for me. What I do want is these sections here. Okay, so I've got mid sections, so what I'm going to do again is that bridge cut right through. And then again, I want real thin strands. Now remember, you've got a rounded bit of a spring onion. It's going to create that sort of round method, which is going to roll away from you. You want it nice and flat, okay? So nicely into your bridge and claw, nice thin strips, okay? And then they go in your bowl as well. And then the final thing to go into your bowl, thank you, is some bean sprouts, okay? Now these I bought from Morrison's earlier on, 65p a bag, okay? And you only need a handful of them, okay? So when you've got your mixture there, okay, that's what it should look like, okay? So we've got a nice mix of carrots, peppers, spring onions, and those bean sprouts, okay? So you want relatively a large amount in there, because remember, these spring rolls are going to be able to feed a lot of people in your family, okay? And are very, very tasty. So we need to make sure that we've got enough for them. So I'm going to put that there 1 second. Right. The next thing I want to show you is the marinade. So that is the sauce that's going to go on your vegetables, okay? So this is what we need, okay? I've got a small little bowl here, and I want 2 tablespoons of honey, like I'd said at the start. So I'm just going to pour that in, okay? I've already put 1 in there, and then another tablespoon of soy sauce, okay? So I'm just going to pop that in there as well. I'm just aware of the fact that you couldn't see that, sorry. I've got a bit of coriander, a bit of fresh coriander that I've just chopped down, okay? If you've got coriander at home, then feel free to pop that in there. I think it adds
coriander.
Lovely. I think it adds a nice sort of fresh dimension to your cooking. Your ginger. You want to peel the outside edge of it, okay? You don't want that skin on. So make sure you peel that edge nicely. Get rid of the skin, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to cut it into strips. Thank you. Okay, so into strips. And then into small little cube sections, because nobody wants a massive amount of ginger in their mouth, okay? So nice cube sections, and then into our marinade pot. So we've got some wet ingredients, we've got some drier ones, and then finally my piece of garlic. So again, garlic came off a bigger bulb, so this is just 1. I'm going to chop the end off where the root came from, and then what I'm going to do then is with my knife, blade away from me, and using the ball of my hand, I'm going to press down real careful so I don't cut myself, and then I find it easier then to get rid of the skin. And then nice and simple, bridge and claw again to get that garlic again into small little cube sections. Again, no one wants a massive big mouthful of garlic in their mouth, okay? So just be careful with that. Make sure it's nice small pieces like so. Right, I think we're rocking and rolling. Right, Scarlett, can you go and get me a teaspoon, please, out the drawer?
Yes.
Okay.
Or
thank
peeling.
you. I tell you what, I'll do it myself. Right, so I have a teaspoon. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to mix up all that lovely marinade in there. So there's my soy sauce, my honey, my garlic, my ginger, and my coriander in there as well. And at this point, if you want to put a bit of seasoning into your mixture as well, you can do. So I'm just going to pour that all on top now, and that is your mixture made. So I'm just going to give it a good old stir. You're marinating all those lovely vegetables. It smells absolutely delicious. Really, really does. Can you smell it?
It's amazing.
Smells amazing.
Or
lovely.
Or
right,
ginger
so
for peeling the skin off, you can use this.
You could use a peeler, yes, absolutely. So let's move all that out of my way.
Wow.
And let's move this in. So this is the point now where we're going to be making our lovely spring rolls and folding. So we've got our mixture ready, and what I've got here is I've just got some roll sheets of filo pastry. I think supermarkets do their own version of that as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure it's really, really well mixed, because we don't want it all left at the end. There we go. So you want a nice sort of mixture of the vegetables, and I'm going to put them towards the middle there. In fact, I'm going to bring them a bit further down. And no one wants a skinny spring roll, so make sure you've got enough mixture in there. There we go, pop that in. Right, so that's probably about sufficient. And then with my filo now, I'm literally just going to roll it up. Now filo pastry can be notorious for cracking. Okay, and all I'm doing now is I'm folding the edges, both sides. Okay, so if it does crack, it doesn't matter. Keep going with it, okay, and you want to use the whole sheet on one spring roll. Now, That's what it looks like. So you've got nice folded edges and it's nicely contained.
Yes.
Once I've done that, I'm going to pop that on my baking tray, and then the final thing that I need to do is, once I've got them all on there, which you can do in your own time, okay, is I'm going to brush my filo pastry spring roll now with a little bit of oil, not too much, okay, just a little to give it that crunch. And then that's it, ladies and gentlemen, that is ready then for the oven. Okay, so go ahead, go for it. Okay, make some spring rolls. Let's see what you come up with. What I will say is one more health and safety rule, which is to be really careful of that oven, because it is going to be hot. 180 degrees is very hot indeed. So please make sure you've got an adult around as you put it in and take it out of the oven. And of course, make sure you're doing the washing up, please. Don't leave it for your mums and dads. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for listening, everybody, and take care. Speak soon. Bye.